So this is episode 12 with my brother again.
What's going on?
So on the last one, you talked a lot about war and stuff, but it was mostly like video game based and stuff. Yeah. But you said you like history a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had to fight in a war in the olden days,
what olden days?
Say 1600s.
Okay. So,
no.
Like what do you?
Let's say 1800s. 1800s.
So musket warfare.
Yeah. What would be your weapon of choice?
Musket, bayonet.
A musket or a bayonet?
Both.
You can have both.
But you can't have a bayonet without a musket.
What do you mean?
You can't have it. Wait, just as a knife?
No, you can take the bayonet and hook it onto a stick.
I'd use a musket. Just a regular musket.
What would you shoot out of it?
Shoot out of it?
Yeah.
Pellets. You don't musket balls. You can't shoot anything else. There's just one type of. There's.
What if you loaded it full of nails?
It doesn't work. It's not big enough.
What do you mean it doesn't work?
It's not big enough.
You could shoot nails at it.
No, not big enough.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Shoot like a nail, but it wouldn't be as effective.
You could shoot like 10 nails.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It wouldn't go very far. Like if you
it would work
if you lined them up.
Because I've loaded nails into a shotgun shell before.
That's different.
That's the same thing. What do you mean it's different? No. It's like an advanced musket.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
How is it not? It's a metal tube with a bang at the end.
It wouldn't. For one thing, you wouldn't be able to load it the same.
Why?
Because the stick wouldn't properly get the nails down.
You just pour the powder, pack it down, and then just drop your nails in there and jam them down as far as you can.
They would just fall out.
I mean, you're in a war in the 1800s. What more do you want?
All right. Well,
it's not like it's going to be like a sniper musket.
Well, I mean, sure, you have to be somewhat accurate, you know.
That's why you're using nails. So it's like a shotgun.
They're not. You couldn't.
What?
It wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work.
Why wouldn't it work?
It just wouldn't.
So, okay, what if you were like an infantry guy? It wouldn't work then?
What do you mean? Yes, no.
What if you were if you're within 20 yards of somebody, it's not going to work?
Within 20 yards? No, I don't think it would. I don't think it'd be able to hit him.
It would definitely hit him within 20 yards.
No.
100%.
No.
Yeah.
It'd be difficult. But
it wouldn't be difficult at all.
Lucky.
How?
To be able to hit him. It's going to be so inaccurate. It's probably not going to go that far.
You don't think it would even go 20 yards?
I don't know. That would not be very,
I've pretty much done it.
No.
Yeah.
Well, the shotgun's different.
A shotgun shell. A shotgun with a shotgun shell. I took the shotgun shell and cut it in half and then put it, I don't remember how, I cut the shell in half and then put the powder and the wad in it. So it would be packed down and then put it in the gun and then just drop nails down the barrel. And then you shoot it and it's just like a shotgun.
I still think it'll work.
I've done it.
Not with a musket.
It's the same thing.
It wouldn't be.
It's a metal tube. It wouldn't be. It's a little metal tube.
You don't have anywhere near as much power out of a musket as you do with a shotgun.
Why?
It's just not some power. It's not designed to hit as hard.
What are you talking about?
They didn't have the type of technology that we do nowadays. Like a shotgun shell, it has a really, really well, the gunpowder is really high quality for one. And it's really well designed to push out as hard as it can. But muskets, they don't hit that hard. They don't.
You can do it with black powder.
It doesn't mean it's possible.
How does it not?
It just doesn't.
You sounded crazy right now.
No.
So you're just defying physics.
yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. If you had to take over any country, which one would it be and how would you do it?
That's difficult. See, the easiest country to take over would be like a South American country or like an African country, like a poorly structured country. But having it wouldn't give you much power. It wouldn't put you in a place of power. I feel like
you would take it, but it wouldn't.
It would be stable.
There wouldn't be any value there.
No. Well, Maybe I'd say Brazil, because
You take over Brazil.
South America has a lot of untapped natural resources.
Have you seen the people in Brazil? It's like drug cartels.
Yeah, but if you could find a way to clear some of it out and establish some stability,
How would you get rid of just the drug cartels?
it'd have to be ruthless.
What do you mean you'd have to be ruthless?
Like you'd have to
Just like go and start killing people?
pretty much, yeah. You'd have to because the only way to get rid of them is to just pretty much just flush them out. Like you'd have to force them to another country or just kill them off, because they're not going to just stand down.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think if you went to Brazil and you just told the drug lords, like, all right, listen, you need to get out.
No.
you don't think it's going to work?
I mean, maybe if you asked nicely and had like a bouquet or something.
If you send them like an edible arrangement,
Yeah,
they'd be like, oh, well, all right, I get it.
maybe.
But how would you do it though?
Let's see. Well, see, the thing is,
Let's say this is not now. Say it's like the 1500s.
well, let me not 1500s.
Yeah,
Latin America hadn't been established.
but it was there.
It was there, but like it's just mostly natives.
Okay, so let's say now.
Oh wait, no, there was. I think the Spanish conquistadors were there by this time period. I can't remember, but it was mostly just.
That sounds like something off the Taco Bell menu.
So you basically.
Hey, I'll take two of them conquistadors.
But the conquistadors literally did that. They just showed up and like, oh, this is ours now.
Really?
So I'd be a conquistador in that time period. Yeah, I just show up and do what they did. Maybe
Okay.
I'd be a bit more humane. I'd like to think, but
You'd be a little bit more humane, stealing everything from them.
well, they didn't just steal. They wiped out entire tribes.
Fair enough. So what do you think the greatest war weapon ever was?
Greatest war weapon ever. That's difficult. Like we mean like the single like how much damage a single weapon could do, or how efficient the weapon was.
Both.
Both.
What do you like one for each one?
Oh, okay. Well, the nuclear warhead's obviously the most powerful single weapon ever invented. It's not very practical because if you use it too much, it's going to, create a fallout. But I feel like.
So you're telling me if you use it too much, it'll create a video game?
Yes.
Fair enough. I can go along with that.
But yeah. So nukes are just they're the most powerful single weapon ever invented. But I feel like the most efficient weapon ever invented would probably be. Well, it'd be a gun, obviously, but like specifics, I don't know. I'm sure. I feel like the AK is probably the most efficient weapon ever made.
Just because it's so versatile.
It's so versatile. You can just remake it over and over in every roll.
Just like that meme.
Yeah.
You can have a short AK, long AK,
Exactly.
close-up AK, long-range AK, no buttstock AK, pistol AK.
Yeah.
All right, so a nuclear warhead and an AK.
Yes.
What else?
I mean,
Like, what was something that what do you think was the most revolutionary weapon?
musket, definitely.
Really?
Yeah, when it came out, it changed warfare on its head. Like warfare before muskets, where you'd establish, a front line of swordsmen and spearmen. Then behind that, you'd have your archers and the flanks, cavalry, and back you'd have
what?
You'd have cavalry in the flanks. Your soldiers, your infantrymen on the front lines, your archers behind them, and you have your artillery in the back. But with muskets, they got rid of the two lines. They merged them into one. So you don't have archers and infantry. You have just infantry.
Why would they get rid of the archers?
Because archers were obsolete with gunpowder.
So they put them out of a job. Mm-hmm. What do you think it was like the first guy that made the musket that took the very first shot? Well, he is just was in a workshop somewhere and just made this thing. And he's like, all right, who's pulling the trigger?
Well, the first muskets actually were invented, I believe, in the 1600s when medieval warfare was still dominant. And they were god awful. They couldn't penetrate armor. They were so inaccurate. They weren't useful in combat. They were essentially just put to the side as a gimmick.
But are they just like noise machines?
Pretty much. they were not good at all. But as time progressed and they got better and better, they started to be more and more useful until like in the Conquistador era, they had both muskets and swords and shields being used together. But like after the conquistadors came in and like the muskets went from being like a blunderbuss edge to like a blunderbuss end to the barrel. Like it was like the muskets back then had like the barrel was straight and it ended like a blunderbuss. But
like it like a horn.
Yeah. And
like what they always depict in the cartoons as like an elephant gun.
Yeah. And they took that and shortened it to a more straight barrel, and it became way more accurate. And after that, pretty much.
Well, because when they first started making them, they probably just loaded them with like just whatever.
No, blunderbusses, yeah, but actual muskets, they used musket balls. They always use musket balls.
What did they use like the very first ones? Was it just like rocks?
I think it was just pellets. It was just like little pellets.
Pellets of what?
Just lead.
How'd they make them?
I'm just the way you make pellets, I think.
Well, what year is this?
This is like 1600s.
So they didn't have pellets?
Yeah, they know how to make that stuff. In the 1600s, cannons were already around.
Really?
Yeah. Cannons were invented in the, I think.
What do you think the first cannon shot was like?
Cannon shot.
Like the first guy that was like, he made this cannon and he was like, all right, hear me out.
The Ottomans were the first ones to make cannons, I believe.
The who?
Ottomans.
Who's that?
The Ottomans in the Middle East. You know where Turkey is?
Yeah.
That was once the Ottoman Empire.
No.
And the Ottomans were this giant empire, the most powerful empire of their time. And they had the gunpowder from Asia. And they decided, you know what, let's take a giant brass barrel. We just put gunpowder at the bottom of it. We put
just take gun, make it big.
Yes, that's how it sounded. and you just throw a giant stone ball, because they were stone. The first cannonballs were stone, I believe, and they used it to siege places down. And once the Europeans saw that they were using cannons, they're like, "Oh my god, that thing tore down that wall in like an hour." And they were like, "Oh my god, we gotta get our hands on this." And the Europeans took it and ran with it and made it like super, just better in every way.
But I don't understand how cannons became like popular.
Because mainly their siege ability. They started out just being siege weapons.
Because like they're so heavy, right?
Yes.
They're like thousands of pounds.
You'd have to assemble it on the site of the siege.
And how would that work? Like if you're in this place, like in this certain location to go to war, okay, but you have to like go set up to get ready for war. How does your enemy not just take you out as you're setting up for war?
You'd have them encircled in a siege. Like you'd have them in a siege in a fortress or a city, and you'd completely surround them with their military and cut off all the choke points. So if they try to come out at you, you just gun them down. And then you'd set up you'd bring in through your supply train. You'd bring in the cannon piece itself, and then you bring in the thing it's going to sit on, like the frame, and you bring in the ammunition and the powder. And
so you'd have to make like a physical circle with people.
Yes, the army. You'd make a circle. If there was choke points, you set up points. You set up soldiers in fortified positions. Like you'd dig trenches and build some stakes and that sort of thing. And you'd have your men lined up, looking down at choke points. So if they came at you, you just massacre them.
How did they determine like where the battle zone was?
Well, mainly it was, in large swaths of forests and stuff, there'd be a clearing. It'd be a very well-known clearing. And one side would march to that clearing and intercept an enemy army. So an army would, like, they didn't intel that this army is on its way here. There's a clearing here. So we intercept them at the clearing and kill them. That's how battle happened.
Oh, so there was like everybody's like in the woods and there's just like an opening and they're just like, all right, the opening is where we're going to fight.
Yeah. Like a good ground is where you'd fight.
And how do you organize this?
Just how you do it.
Like, what do you like? Because you can't just have like two armies in the woods just like hanging out. And then one day they're just like, hey, we're going to fight.
No, one army intercepts the other. One army is unawares. And the other
so they're army, like, so the army is like already going through this area.
Yes.
And then they just happen to cross paths and they're just like, hey, we're going to fight.
Or there'd be an army that would take a defensive position in a strategically important location, and they'd force a fight. Like at Waterloo, what happened was the British commander Wellington took up a defensive position on a hill, and the hill just happened to be in the middle of a wide road network, and you couldn't go around this hill without taking heavy casualties. So he forced Napoleon to attack him on the hill. Because if Napoleon tried to go around,
higher ground.
Yeah, he had the high ground.
I mean, that's smart. You know what I mean? Because you always want the high ground.
Yeah, and a lot of people think oh, why didn't they just go around this fort? Like they built a fort in this area. Why didn't they just go around it? Well, to go around it, you'd have to go. Usually, you'd either have to go around difficult terrain, which would cause casualties because it's attrition, or you'd have to
nutrition.
Yeah, like
what are they going like hundreds of miles?
Well, if you have to go through rough terrain, like if you try to march an army through a really dense patch of woods, it's going to slow you down like you wouldn't believe, and people are going to take disease is going to be rampant, and your supply wheels are going to trains are going to get stuck. You're going to be slowed down by so much, and you're going to lose.
There's probably always going to be those idiots that get hurt on the way. And there's they're like, how did you do this?
Well, mainly it's just disease. Like disease killed more than anything else back in the day.
Really? Mm-hmm. And the wars?
The Civil War. I believe the casualty count was well over 600,000, I believe, and I think it's like 500,000, 400,000 of those casualties were to disease, not fighting.
Really?
Yeah.
Because on the very first time that you were on the podcast, you brought up that they would stick musket balls inside of cows.
Yes.
And then shoot them at people?
Yeah, because you'd have disease ones on it, and then you'd get hit and you get sick.
So I was thinking about that. If you put a musket ball into a cow and then got diseases on it or whatever, then put it in a gun and shoot it, wouldn't the heat of the gun sanitize the musket ball?
No.
Why not?
It just wouldn't. It wouldn't be enough to completely cleanse the disease.
You sure?
Yeah, the bacteria on it would still survive.
Through a blast like that?
Maybe not on the back side of the bullet, but on the front side, yeah.
I think I'm going to try this out.
Yeah, you have your friend Jim come over.
I'll find somebody with a cow and see if I can, or I'll find someone that already has a dead cow.
Yeah.
See if I can put a musket ball in it, and then I'll just find someone, give them $20, and see if they'll let me shoot them with a musket ball, and we'll see if they get a disease.
Yeah. That's simple.
Yeah. I mean, why can't you just recreate it?
Exactly.
I'm sure YouTube would absolutely love that video.
Oh, definitely.
So, would you rather be a pirate?
Pirate. I don't care what the other option is.
Fair enough. Yeah, it doesn't matter what the other option is?
No.
What if the other option was billionaire?
Pirate.
You'd rather be a pirate than a billionaire.
You could be a billionaire as a pirate. You get respect as a pirate, and you're notoriety.
But pirates are old school.
So
you don't have
what time period would I be?
Whenever pirates were popular.
So 1720s, 30s. Yeah.
Yeah, sometime around there.
Yeah, the golden age of piracy. To be a pirate in the golden age of piracy was heaven. You were in the best place you could possibly be.
Really?
You could do anything you wanted, and no one could stop you.
As a pirate.
Oh yeah. The Navy didn't have the tools to stop pirates. The pirates just had free reign.
All they had was a boat.
Yeah, they had a faster ship than the.
What do you mean faster?
Faster, they take a sloop, which is a small ship, and they just outrun the entirety of the Navy because the Navy couldn't catch them.
I thought they had guys that had to row.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
In the 1700s?
Yeah.
Did they have engines?
No.
Well, then what moved the ship?
Sails. What are you, stupid? Have you never heard of a sailboat?
I mean, I guess. Did they have wind back then?
Yeah. I hadn't been wind yet. Elon Musk wasn't around back then.
I didn't think about sails. I was picturing they had all the holes along the hull of the boat, and they have all the guys underneath rowing the boat.
No, that was galleys. That's what a galley is.
So the Navy had to have sailboats.
Yeah, everybody has sailboats.
So they couldn't get the same size sails as the pirates?
They have bigger sails, but the ship would be heavier. Weight is what determined how fast you were. And the pirates were always lighter.
So why couldn't they just lighten their ship?
Because they wouldn't have as much firepower to deal with the other navies. If you were in warfare back then, the biggest ship won the battle. But the biggest ships were slow, and they couldn't catch small ships. So if these small ships were to go head to head with a big ship, they'd get blown out of the water before they even had a sort of chance. Like you'd literally have a small ship of like a pirate and a Navy ship, and the pirate would shoot the Navy ship, and its cannonballs would literally bounce off, do nothing, and the Navy ship would shoot back, and there'd just be a puff of smoke, and the pirate ship would be disintegrated.
So did these? How much do you know about pirates?
A lot.
did they just roam around just looking for someone to pick a fight with?
Well, they follow along merchant routes. So there were certain sailing routes, like routes that were the currents and wind were.
How'd they know where they were going?
Because they would use the astrolabes and stuff like that.
The what?
Compasses and astrolabes. And astrolabes is what helps you track the stars. Like they navigate through the stars.
Really? Mm-hmm. That sounds miserable.
Yeah. You have to be very, very smart. Pirate captains were very smart. What was that?
Virus and threat protection. It's probably the NSA trying to get in while we're talking about all this stuff. Mm-hmm. So what do you think like an average day on a pirate ship was like?
Well, you'd just be roaming around trying to find a merchant ship.
Just looking for something to steal.
Mm-hmm. You'd like find a merchant ship or find like a helpless town to raid.
So what'd they do? Just like get close to it and then just start jumping off their ship and onto that ship?
Well, the first I think they'd do is they'd use usually chain shot. So you'd have two cannonballs and a chain that runs between them to connect it, and that chain shot would be used to destroy the sails or even demast the ship, to take the mast off the ship. So once it had the sails,
did all of the because the merchant ships were basically just like a modern day or what is now like a container ship, just taking
nowhere near that big.
Well, not that big, but like what I'm saying is they just took like goods back and forth.
Yeah, and they had no weapons on them usually.
Okay, so they were completely defenseless.
Yeah, mostly defenseless, unless you had like a really big one.
How many of these things got like taken out?
A lot.
So like if they like, because like I'm thinking if they continually kept getting taken out, why didn't they put weapons on them?
They did. They just couldn't have enough. Like some of them would have like 4 or 6 cannons on them, but you could never outgun a pirate ship. You could just usually they just use them to deter smaller ships, like so a sloop couldn't get you. But if a pirate ship came up with a brig, which is a much bigger ship, like it'd be smaller than the merchant ship, but it'd have like 3 or 4 times the amount of cannons, so you'd still be outgunned hopelessly.
Were any of the pirate ships like in cahoots? Was there like 3 or 4 pirate ships together?
Oh yeah,
there was like gangs of pirate ships.
There's tons of there are lots of gangs of pirate ships. There was one pirate that was very famous because he was in the Caribbean area, and he managed to capture like 14 or 15 ships, like big ships, like frigates, and even a man of war. Frigates.
That's what it's called. It's a frigate.
That's a big ship. It's like a military ship. Like a frigate nowadays is what a cruiser would be in modern times. Like a frigate was back then, it was a cruiser now, and a man of war is a battleship back then.
So like, I don't remember what I was going to say now.
Or a ship of the line is what it's really called.
A what?
Ship of the line. A ship of the line is like the standard battleship. Like all the countries in the world, the biggest countries used ship of the lines back then.
So why didn't they just like? I mean, I'm sure this probably is a stupid question because this probably wouldn't have ever worked. Why didn't they just pay the pirates to take the goods back and forth? Because they're going to take the ships anyway.
They would pay, the other sides would pay pirates to raid the other supply lines. So if you're France and you're trying to mess up Britain, you'd pay pirates to go out and attack British merchant ships, but not attack your ships.
So it's like you were like paying like an anarchy group,
They were called privateers. Privateers were paid by they were given legal rights to raid merchant ships of the enemy.
What do you mean legal rights? Because like there wasn't any laws out on the ocean, right?
No, but if you were a French ship and you saw a French privateer, you couldn't attack them.
Why not?
Because they had the legal right to do what they're doing.
How would they? How are they going to punish them?
To do what? How? What for?
That's what I'm saying. Like because you said like if it's like a French pirate ship,
yeah,
and then they see like a French merchant ship, and then they attack them,
then they'd be traitors. They'd be treasonous.
But how would they know?
They wouldn't.
What are they going to do? Call them up on their cell phones and be like, "Hey, they're taking us down."
There had to be like a survivor of the French merchant ship or something. If not, then they just wouldn't know.
So basically, the only way that you could get like a bad reputation is just word of mouth.
Pretty much, yeah.
So like it just some snitch was on the boat and he was just like, hey, they came up and killed everybody but me.
Yeah. There are so many pirates that are like, they did crazy stuff. Like everybody knows Blackbeard, but there's so many other pirates that are like even more successful than Blackbeard.
What was he known for?
He was known for just being terrifying. Like he was the most ruthless pirate ever.
That's it. He was just ruthless.
He was just really, really, really angry guy.
So he had a bad temper.
And he was also a giant. He was like back then the average height was like 5'6" or something like that, and he was like 6'4". He was a giant, and he had he was a tough guy to bring down.
And what like was this like 1700s?
Yeah,
somewhere around there,
like 1740s, I think.
So they just had like they weren't like rich, right?
Yeah, sometimes they were. Some of them were. Like some pirates were able to get like really, really, really good hulls. Like they'd find a merchant ship that just happened to have diamonds or something on it, and they'd be like set for life. They just retire.
They just parked the boat and they're just like, all right, we're good.
Yeah, they didn't need anything else. But most of the time they just kept going because it was the thrill of it.
They just liked being like rebels out in the sea.
Yeah, because there was pride in being a pirate.
Really?
Yeah, you were an outlaw. Like you were.
Oh wait, I guess you were like the outlaw against everybody.
Yeah.
Who was like the greatest pirate?
I think it was Calico Jack. I think that's who it was. Like the successful one.
I think I've heard that name somewhere before.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was Calico Jack, but
I don't remember what on or what for.
No. I know who was the greatest pirate of all time. It was a Chinese pirate named it was a girl. It was she was like the pirate queen. I forget what I was like Wu or something like that, like Lady Wu or something like that. But she was incredibly just overloaded. Like I think she had like 700 ships under her.
What?
Something like that. Crazy. Like she had the entire Chinese coast to herself. Like no one, not even the. Like
so
the
there was like this many pirate ships out in the ocean
in China, yeah. Because not in the Caribbean they had a lot, but in China they had the organized piracy under her, and she literally controlled the Chinese coast. Like the Chinese Navy couldn't do anything. If you wanted to get through the Chinese coast, like one way or another, you had to pay for protection from the pirate queen.
So these were like the good old days.
This is way back actually.
So she controlled the entire coast.
The entire Chinese
coast. If you wanted to bring stuff into China, you got to talk to her.
You got to go through her ships.
That's like a what would be like now like a modern day like drug cartel in Mexico. Mm-hmm. It'd be like this is our town.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Can you imagine having that much power back then? Yeah. That'd be like, even if you didn't have like a dime to your name, that would be,
yeah.
You'd have all the power. Mm-hmm. You'd be more than like a president.
You'd be a queen or a king. Oh, but that's what I was gonna say. And the first topic you talked about, which country I'd take over.
Right.
I actually had an experience, something very close to that. We some of my friends online, we got together on a game called Tabletop Simulator, and we made our own game. And it was it took place in 2077, I believe it was. And
so this is future.
Yes, far into the future. And it's like we had like a world map, and everybody picked countries.
Did you pick 2077 for because of Cyberpunk 77?
No, this is before Cyberpunk. This is a happy accident.
Oh.
But everybody like picked their own countries, and you'd have to manage your whole country as like the country leader. And I picked Latin America. I picked the Latin League. It was basically like all of South America unified. And it was my job to manage the Latin League and make sure it didn't like crumble, and make sure I was able to keep the people happy and keep the military strong and keep our borders safe. And how I did it was in the beginning, China had a strong grip on my economy. Like all my economic goods were produced by China, and China was being played by.
Hold on, back up. In this game, you have a guy that like makes the storyline, right?
Yes.
So like you have how many people do you play with?
In that game we had 5 people, I think. And the players were I was the Latin League.
So like just for the people that are listening, you basically made your own board game,
yes,
but on a computer, and then you have you and 3 other people pick your places, and then there's like one guy that controls the storyboard.
Called a GM. Because the game master, he would control
the game master. I was thinking general manager.
He controls everything that happens. But it's like if you've played D&D before, then that's what it is. But in like a strategic game instead of a role playing game. But yeah, we had these countries.
So what keeps him like? What encourages him to make everything like fair?
Just being a good GM.
No,
if he wasn't.
So he could just be like, all right, so these people nuked your entire country.
Yeah, he could have done that, but we would all have been.
And then you're just kind of done.
Yeah, we would all have been like, that's dumb. You're a bad GM. This guy's our new GM. You're done. But he was a good GM. He was fair for the most part.
I like how you stick with the GM.
Yeah,
it's not game master. It's GM.
Yeah, you got to shorten it.
Did you give him like a little badge?
He had
GM
in Discord. He had a thing that said GM on his profile picture.
And was that just like what he wanted to do? Like he didn't really want to participate in the game.
He's the one who made the entire thing. He made the rules. He made the map.
He made the map and everything.
Yeah, he made it all.
How long did that take?
It took him like. Well, he said it took like months, but he actually only worked on it like 1 or 2 days a month.
No,
so he probably could have done the whole thing in like less than a week.
No, so he just drug it out forever.
Yeah. But he made this whole like world and everything. He had like stuff written down, and so the players on the world stage was Earth. It was just Earth. I was playing as unified.
Was it flat?
Yes. The map was. And I was playing as unified South America. And I was called the Latin League. So it's like Brazil took over all the other countries and formed the Latin League. And it was a democratic country. Then you had Germany, and it was played by my other friend. And he started out as like a democracy empire hybrid. Like he was a constitutional empire, I think. And like he was kind of like part fascist, part democratic. And he had to deal with his thing called the Reichstag.
The what?
The Reichstag, which is his Congress basically. And we had another guy named who was playing as China, and China had literally taken over all of Asia. So imagine all of Asia, Indochina, India. Well, not India. India was controlled by Germany. He had the entirety of China and all.
Isn't China most of Asia already?
Yes, but like picture actually all of it. Like the entirety of the Pacific, including Australia. No, wait. Australia was controlled by Germany. Because Germany had been the world power.
How's Australia controlled by Germany?
Because Germany had fought a war against the rest of Europe for control of their colonies. And
Australia is its own thing.
Yeah, it was taken over by Germany in this world. Because the main powerhouses were Germany and China. China had taken over the entirety of the East, and Germany had controlled almost all of the West. And but the EU still survived through Italy, France, Spain. No, Spain was on Germany's side. UK. And what happened was China controlled all of Asia and a huge portion of Russia. Russia had been torn to pieces by Germany and China, mainly China. And it was down to like a small blob next to Sweden.
And you were just Latin America.
I was Latin America. I was unified Latin America, and one guy was China. And China was special because it was literally like a conglomerate. Like there was no government. It was just businesses. Businesses controlled everything. It's like capitalism at its most severe and horrifying state possible. Because like it was separated into like thousands of districts, and in these districts you'd have like managers that would control the entirety of the district, which was a workforce. They didn't have a population. They had a workforce. Everyone was employed to do something. If you didn't do that job, you were killed on the spot.
Really?
Yes. And so everybody had a quota to meet, and the quota was impossible to meet. And so people died all the time. But people, like the area had so many people in it, like tens of billions of people in it, that it was better if you lose people because you depopulate the overpopulation area. So it's like...
Okay, wow.
So there was those 4 big company leaders, and I forget the name of them. Like there were names to these company leaders, and each one had they cornered the market on one thing. And then there was the guy playing China, which was not one of these leaders. He was the guy in the actual government who was being told what to do by the leaders. And he was just kind of like trying to make sure the country didn't tear itself apart. so he'd be
Fair
like,
enough.
Yeah, he'd be like, I want to improve public health. And because he was the president, technically, but not really.
Yeah.
And he'd come to the leaders and they'd be like, nah, not profitable. And he'd just get shot down.
Not profitable.
Yeah.
We want our people to live. Nah.
No,
Never mind.
they're not important. And then you had one
So
guy.
which people do you want to live? All of them? Because we don't need all of them.
Only the most profitable people. They're all about profit. It was like if
Keep the rich ones. That's it.
yeah. It was the most classified place you could ever imagine.
It'd be like, if you don't make six figures, you're out.
Exactly. And then you had a guy played in Sweden, and he literally tried to turn modern day Sweden into the Viking days. He like, you can make your own rules, make your own laws. He made it a law where if two people had a legal disagreement, they would have a trial by combat. So you would get into a courtroom. You were both given swords, and the person who won the fight to the death won the legal argument, and they were just free to go.
That sounds like my kind of court. Mm-hmm. Give people swords, just let them fight it out.
Yeah, and he also made it to where the leader of the country would be decided by tribal combat as well.
So what was the difference between? This is kind of off topic, but what was the difference between? Not the difference, but like we talked about pirates. Yeah. What about Vikings? Like what was what's like? There's not really much of a difference between a pirate and a Viking,
not
right?
Really, they're just older.
Just older.
A lot older. Yeah.
Well, when were Vikings?
Vikings were the 700s, 800s,
700s, and then pirates were still like 1700s.
Yeah, like 1,000 years later.
Oh, so they just kind of copied Vikings.
Kind of, but Vikings were more arguably more successful than pirates because they actually established their own kingdom.
So would you rather be a Viking or a pirate?
Still be a pirate, to be honest, because you just know more. Like there'd be more to achieve, really. Like you had more stuff to work with.
But you'd go down in history greater probably as a pirate.
Definitely a pirate, yeah.
Or as a Viking, I mean.
No, because pirates were
because you said
more known.
The Vikings were more more like established and stuff.
Back in the Viking days, history wasn't being written as much.
Did the Vikings have sails?
No. Oh yeah, they do. They had both sails and oars, so they'd row and sail at the same time.
So they were double fast.
Yeah. And because the most famous Viking was Ragnar Ragnarsson, I believe. Oh no, Ragnar Lothbrok, I think. And
Ragnar Ragnarsson?
No, Ragnar Ragnarsson was his son.
And they had such creative names back then.
I believe it was his son. And
you shall be Ragnar Ragnarsson.
No, it wasn't Ragnar Ragnarsson. It was Ragnar Lothbrok. His son was like Ivan the Boneless and like some other people. Oh, no, Bjorn, whatever his name, Bjorn Ironhide Lothbrok or something like that. But Ragnar Lothbrok was the guy who took over northern England, I believe. And he established like a kingdom in northern England.
So you'd still rather be a pirate? Mm-hmm. Who do you think would win if the pirates and the Vikings fought each other?
Pirates, definitely. Because
you think?
Absolutely. The pirates could just blast the Vikings out. The pirates are faster. Pirates are more agile.
The Vikings didn't have any weapons?
The only thing they could do is board. Well, and throw javelins, but...
They threw javelins?
Yeah, across like naval combat back then was just throwing javelins and firing arrows across the ships and ramming.
Ramming? Mm-hmm. So they would just drive their, like... Did they ever, I'm sure they probably sunk themselves sometimes.
No. If you hit it right, the front of your ship just splits the other ship in half. If they're designed that way.
So this is like caveman stuff. they're just like
that's how wars were
riding real close and they're just throwing javelins.
That's exactly how wars were fought back in the Greek days.
But I'm sure the javelins were probably made of wood, I'm assuming.
Made of wood and had an iron tip. Usually.
And they're just throwing them.
Yeah.
So it probably didn't even do anything. Hardly.
It did. If you hit someone on the other ship. Yeah.
Well, if you hit somebody, but if you hit the ship, it just would stick into it like a dartboard.
I would either stick to it or fall off.
So once they throw it, they can't get it back.
No.
So how long did it take to make one spear?
Probably not that long. You just have to find a stick and sharpen, smooth it out.
Exactly.
Put a iron tip on it.
That'd be a long time back then.
Well, not as
Back in the 700s?
Yeah, think about it. It's either like you can mass produce these things. So with just a blacksmith can just spend all day.
Like mass produce is like what, 10?
Back in those days.
that's what mass produce is.
If you can like make 10 javelins and kill 5 people, that's still a pretty big deal.
But you can throw 10 javelins in 1 minute.
I mean, maybe if you're good enough.
What do you mean?
You throw it accurately. Like you wouldn't just want to go like chuck over and over like a machine gun. You want to line up the shot.
It'd be like Elf when he's doing all the snowballs. You just have like a big pile of javelins. You just start throwing them at the ship. And the Vikings are just like, this guy right here, this is a good one. Everybody just gives up their little pile of spears, and they're just like, okay, here, you can throw them all. It'd be like, we took down every ship in our path.
Yeah, and sometimes they even throw axes because throwing axes were big there too.
Oh, you wouldn't want to throw your axe.
Maybe if it was designed for throwing, yeah.
I mean, any axe can be thrown.
I mean, yeah, but accurately.
You think they really knew the difference between a regular axe and a throwing axe?
Yes, they made throwing axes.
You said this was the 700s.
Yeah.
I think you're overestimating these people.
No.
I don't think they were that bright.
No. They knew what they were doing.
How would they establish the difference?
Which size? If it's small enough to be thrown accurately, the throwing axe.
Okay, fair enough. What do you think they were eating on those ships?
Eating. Probably just like salted meat and some vegetables.
They didn't have vegetables.
Yeah, they hadn't been invented yet.
Not they hadn't been invented yet. They didn't have any on the ship.
They might have.
Where would they have got them?
From raiding.
From what?
Raiding.
Oh.
Because they got most of their food.
What are they going to like dive down to the ocean and get like an ocean carrot?
They'd fish too a lot.
So that's just fish.
Yeah.
Would they salt the fish?
Probably. Smoke them. Smoke them or salt them.
You can't smoke it on a boat.
Well, I'm not saying when you on a boat, you on the land and then bring it to the boat.
You think anybody tried to smoke it on the boat?
Probably.
To just burn down their entire boat. Speaking of that, I want you to tell the story of your Minecraft house.
Oh my god. So
hold on, let me check the time. Yeah, that would be a perfect way to end, is with the story of the Minecraft house.
All right, I'll have to traumatize myself again. So
it was the greatest thing in the whole world.
This is when Minecraft first came out.
Right? It first came out for the Xbox 360.
Yeah, 360.
So it's probably like what? Probably 2011, probably
11 or 12 or something like that. But
yeah, probably 12.
See, Tyler had he had established himself in a beautiful dirt mansion, and I did not feel
it was. I think what did I just make? I think I just made like a dirt room basically.
Yeah,
and then like just like a single floor room.
Yeah, just a giant dirt room.
And then you built like this giant wood house.
Yeah, you were like the impoverished part of the map. You were in the lower class.
I just built mine just quick and dirty.
Yeah, you were a minimalist.
Yeah, I was a minimalist. That's what I was.
And then I decided, I didn't want to live in a dirt home. So,
and this is after before you built this. This was after multiple times of you building something like big, and then while you were building your house, I would be underneath of your house, hollowing out the bottom side of it and filling it all with dynamite, and then just waiting for you to finish.
He was jealous of my success,
and I would just tunnel out the hole underneath your house with like. I think I would probably go like 4 or 5 layers of dynamite. So that way, whenever you get done, it would just take out everything that you've done.
You were an anarchist.
Pretty much.
And I was like just trying to build society.
Yeah, because I would take out everything. I would just blow up the whole thing.
Yeah. But I decided I had enough of living next to him. So I put some distance between me and the anarchist.
You moved out because we were building our houses side by side.
No, because I didn't want to build it side by side by you. I built it like a ways away. Like I went over the river.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Before we were side by side. Yes. And then after I blew it up so many times, then you just had to move away.
Like, this is not a good neighborhood. But I decided to put some distance between me and the enemy. And I went across the river, over the mountains, went a ways, and I found a good spot, and I decided this is where I'm going to put it. This is where I'm going to build my dream home. I took some wood, and I built like 3 stories of this wooden house, like this mansion. And I decided, you know what?
It was a nice house.
Yeah, and what happened was during the construction, a creeper came in and blew up and got rid of all my progress. So I was like, I need to do something to get rid of these creepers. And I was like, I can do water, but they might get over the water. Like they might survive the water and jump out of it and get to me. So I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to build lava around my house.
A lava
moat around my house to stop the creepers from getting to me. And I there was one factor I hadn't considered. So I get done filling the moat with lava, and I'm down this ditch, like this 1 by 1 block ditch that I built around my house in a rectangle. And after I'm finished putting down those lava blocks, I look up and I don't have a house anymore. Because apparently lava was able to spread and catch my house on fire and burn it to the ground.
I remember that was the greatest thing ever, because I remember you were building it because I remember watching you over the days, because you spent a couple weeks or so.
No, a couple of days.
Yeah, or a couple of days on the house, and then you had paintings and chests and stairs and all this intricate detail stuff. The whole house.
I had a balcony.
Yeah, you had all this stuff, and then I remember you just running into my room, and you were like, "My house is on fire! My house is on fire!" And I was like, why is your house on fire?" And then you're like, "The lava set it on fire."
I was distraught.
It was the greatest thing ever. Because after I had destroyed all those houses that weren't even that good of houses, they were just kind of rudimentary houses, and then you go and just burn your own house down. It was the greatest thing in the world. So you were homeless again, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever fill in the lava moat?
I think so.
Or did you?
No. I gave up on that idea. I was like, this place is cursed. I was like,
did you move again?
I moved back to where you were. And I built that super, super tall stone mansion. Remember? And then you blew it up.
Did I really blow it up?
Yeah.
I don't remember blowing it up. Did I just blow everything up?
Basically.
I was just destructive. I got on Minecraft not too long ago to blow things up. Probably 2 weeks ago. I found this tall mountain, and I tunneled from the top of the mountain to the bottom of the map. And then that many blocks. And then I did that for from top to bottom, probably 40 by 40. 40 blocks by 40 blocks from top to bottom of dynamite. Yeah. And just blew out just a giant hole in the entire map. Just for fun. Because I didn't have anything else to do. Those are the golden days.
Yeah, some men just want to watch the world burn.
Didn't we start a forest fire on there one time?
I think so.
Or we tried or something?
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, those are the golden days.
Mm-hmm. And then Chicken Wing came in.
Oh. There was we were because we played on Xbox 360. Mm-hmm. So there was. Do you remember if there were was there different servers?
Yeah.
Or was just every console kind of had their own server or something?
I think it was a server list or something like that.
Yeah, I think that might have been a server list or something. Because there was some way that we were by ourselves.
Yeah.
And then for some reason there was never anybody with us ever. No. It was just us. And then I don't remember what we were doing. I think we were just playing around, just doing regular Minecraft stuff. Mm-hmm. And then we had what? We built a couple houses and I forget what else we did, but we had a whole civilization pretty much made. Yeah. And then this idiot that had his gamer tag was Chicken Wang, and Chicken Wang came into our game one day, and then what did he do? He stole all of our food.
He stole all of it, all the pork chops. And everything.
Yeah, he stole all of our pork chops, stole pretty much everything we had, and then didn't he blow our houses up?
Yeah, he blew up your house, I think.
Yeah,
he blew up my house,
and we didn't even know that he was there at first because we were just out doing something or whatever. And then we come back into the house and then there he is inside of our houses stealing everything we got. And we can't stop him because we didn't have because he took our weapons.
Yeah.
So we couldn't even stop him. And we're just defenseless, just sitting there watch this guy take all of our food, all of our weapons, and then blow our houses up.
He was a tyrant.
He was. Well, actually, I told that story backwards.
You did.
Huh?
I think you did, actually.
Yeah. Because, no. Did Chicken Wing mess with us first, or did we mess with him first?
I'm pretty sure we messed with him first.
Well,
It was so long ago.
Yeah. Well, the way I told it makes it sound like we were being attacked.
Yeah.
Even though I think we kind of deserved it.
It might have been like a retaliatory strike.
I think that's what it was, because I think we got into his server and destroyed all his stuff.
Probably. This is war.
Or maybe, I don't remember which way it was. I'm gonna say that he came and messed with us first, because that makes
it sound better.
Yes, because that makes us
justifies us.
That makes us look better.
Yeah.
But I know at some point we definitely went to his server and blew up all of his stuff too. Old Chicken Wing,
rightful clay of ours.
Oh yeah, it was totally deserved.
Yeah, it was justified.
Anyway, that's the story of Chicken Wang. You got anything else?
No, I mean I could go on about the game where I was talking about where we had that future civilization, but I think we're out of time.
No, we're right out of time.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we'll go ahead and end it there.
All right.